So the first 2 years is very critical in terms of the speed of development, the areas involved. So the maturation of the sensory pathways like vision and hearing happen quite early in the first year. Language development starts from 5 to 6 months and peaks around 9 months to 10 months. So this is acquisition of the skills, and then the expression may follow on in the second year. The higher cognitive function also starts maturing by the end of the first year, and by second year it peaks, and then it's a continuing process all through childhood. So the first 2 years is very critical, and the first 5 years 90% of the brain physical growth is achieved as well. So you can see that the 25% at time of birth, it reaches 75% of the adult size by 2 years of age. It's a huge increase. And then by 5 years 90%, and this is reflected here in the interesting sequence on the MRI. So this is the fetus with a very small brain. This is what the birds have, the brain even when they are born. The mammals, as they develop, the brain size increases, and primates have the biggest brain size, as you can see. So for the human baby, the folding of the brain happens early in gestation, and then it keeps developing. You can see that when the baby comes out premature, the brain is very smooth. It's still having lots of development outside the womb, and so they are at risk of developmental problems. At term baby, the brain is almost fully developed, though the size multiplies by the time of 2 years or so. And then between 2 to 5 years, it almost reaches the adult size, and the Salce-Gaire pattern, the maturation, everything is almost complete in the first 2 to 3 years of age. So this again illustrates how the different parts of the brain develop functionality and activity, and this is very important for you to understand why screen time can be bad. So the newborn brain is pretty simple. It has the brain cells and the axons. The myelination process has not started yet. At 1 month, it's starting to develop the dendritic connections depending on the stimulation, and by 9 months the dendritic connections are quite active. The synapses are being formed. At 2 years, you can see that's a far excess of the synapse, a very rapid proliferation of the brain tissue and the connections. And in the adult, you can see that there is a significant reduction in these, but strengthening of the connections that are there. So this process is called pruning. So around 1 year to 2 years of age, the synapse connections multiply rapidly, and then depending on how they are used, depending on what channels are being used, there are channels which become stronger, there are channels which get pruned off. And according to the pruning, the cells which don't get utilized may have programmed cell death, which we call apoptosis as well. So we have the neurogenesis stage, the migration to the top of the brain, synaptogenesis, which we described as the connection formation, and then the neuronal selection and differentiation, myelination. These continue anyway, but it's a pruning stage which is most affected by screen time.